In Sorry Baby, the defining moment of Agnes' adult life happens off camera, but it haunts nearly every other scene in the movie. A standout of the US dramatic competition at Sundance, Eva Victor's disarming funny, slow-to-unfold debut is less a film about sexual assault than it is a serious look at the process of rebuilding after such an experience. Sympathy merges with satire, and acceptance leads to questions, rather than the other way around, as Victor herself embodies a bright young woman who probably thought of herself as a dozen things: witty, independent, sure to inspire future professor, but now must add survivor to that list. A tall, willowy 20-something, Agnes is a brilliant literary mind who must rewrite everything, including her understanding of the word brilliant, after the professor, Louis Cancelmi, who'd freely offered such compliments, makes a pass at her. "Do you think that's why he's telling me that I'm smart?" Agnes asks her lesbian roommate Liddy, Naomi Aki, who impishly tells her to go for it. Agnes wouldn't be the first to sleep with her thesis advisor, but she's looking for a different kind of validation, and when he crosses the line, it shatters her trust in pretty much everything, to the extent that she's apologizing to newborns for life's inevitable disappointments by the film's end early on, before Victor has even established the hashtag #MeToo dimension of the film. There's a sense that she could be poking fun at her generation, especially the hyper-articulate grad school circle to which Agnes belongs. In one scene, after driving out from New York to visit her friend, who hasn't left their Massachusetts college town, Liddy picks up a copy of Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita from Agnes' desk and whispers a knee-jerk "Yub" under her breath. So that's who they are, or at least seem to be, overeducated young progressives whose idealism is based on challenging the status quo. But whatever your first impressions, Victor's character comes in layers. Later, we'll see Agnes as a junior professor, defending Lolita in her seminar, introducing room for other points of view. Her observant, unconventional script isn't so much nonlinear as elliptical, opening in the present and then jumping backward to the year with the bad thing to show Agnes before the incident, when her smiles were more natural and her happiness wasn't mostly a performance intended to make others feel comfortable. From that point, Victor's narrative moves only forward, albeit in unusually curated chapters. That early section tells us where things are headed for Agnes emotionally, a dark place, marked by depression and suicidal thoughts, but it's only part of the picture, and it's sort of a shock to compare to the 3 years younger version seen next. She seems so much lighter and more idealistic. If only someone could warn her what's to come. If only the various institutions were prepared to deal with what has happened, from the male doctor who callously criticizes her for cleaning up after the assault, as if his advice will come in handy next time, to the female university workers who insist, "We know what you're going through. We are women, but do nothing to help." Through it all, Liddy demonstrates the unquestioning allyship her roommate requires. When Agnes shows up with a kitten one day, Liddy takes it in stride. "Whatever you need." This comfort animal will get her through the long months after Liddy and others have moved on with their lives, leaving Agnes behind to manage alone. Victor also includes scenes of a kind, non-threatening male neighbor, a role that seems perfectly suited to Lucas Hedges' uniquely sensitive energy, which suggests that not all men are problematic, while showing just how difficult it is for Agnes to re-establish intimacy. The way Sorry Baby unfolds, Victor doesn't follow that textbook strategy of American screenwriting, where one fills a bulletin board with index cards featuring all the key plot points. This is the scene where such and such happens, and so forth, spelling out every major turning point on screen. Victor's approach is more oblique. Key incidents occur between scenes, and she instead presents seemingly mundane, everyday moments in which we have to play detective, putting together what happened. That may seem confusing or counterdramatic to those accustomed to being spoon-fed, but it makes for a subtler, more lasting impact, a movie that stays with you, full of quiet lived-in details.